Chair Napolitano, I appreciate your holding this hearing, and I would also like to thank our witnesses for being here today. As noted, today's hearing will focus on the President's fiscal year 2022 budget proposal for the Environmental Protection Agency, the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation, the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Natural Resource Conservation Service, and the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as well as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. I'd first like to focus my comments on actions involving the EPA. I'm appreciative very appreciative that we have a high-level representation from the agency's political leadership here at our hearing. Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Fox, and congratulations again on your recent Senate confirmation. And I want to share that I certainly very much enjoyed our recent visit. I am, however, growing increasingly concerned that this administration is reversing reasonable policies put in place by the previous administration. Now, I certainly understand that different administrations will have different policy priorities and approaches. That's to be expected. However, it seems as though some of these actions have very little merit, considering most stakeholders have been very happy with the common sense policy clarifications that were made under the Trump administration. A few examples include the reversal of the Clean Water Act Section 401 certification rule and the unprecedented, I might add, mass firing of all members of 2 advisory panels. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but I did make note of it. And then, of course, there's the announced effort underway to rewrite the Trump administration's rule defining waters of the United States, or WOTUS as we call it around here, for purposes of the Clean Water Act. 3 weeks ago, this subcommittee hosted Jamie Pinkham, Acting Assistant Secretary of the Army for Civil Works, and I'll say again today what I said about WOTUS when he was here, as I certainly think that it bears repeating. While not a surprise to hear that the Biden administration is proposing to take this action on WOTUS, it is no less a disappointment. The system we have in place now, in our opinion, works very well. It's fair to our nation's farmers, ranchers, businesses of all types, city planners, etc. A return to anything close to the 2015 WOTUS rule would be a failure, and the regulatory burden placed on average Americans and the effect on the economy would be highly detrimental. As I said when this rewrite was announced, no bureaucrat in Washington should be able to dictate what our farm families, small businesses, local governments, and citizens do on their property after a significant rainfall. So outreach to solicit, truly listen to, and meaningfully address stakeholder concerns is obviously going to be of paramount importance. And so while I certainly appreciated Mr. Pinkham's appearance here, I still have a few questions. After that hearing, in fact, I led a letter to him and to you, Ms. Fox, pointing out the concerns many members of Congress still have on this particular issue. I was joined by 125 of my colleagues here in the House on that letter. Now, I know you believe stakeholder outreach is important, and I think we would all like to hear whatever specifics you may be able to provide regarding that timeline and other details as to how stakeholder engagement will be achieved. On another topic, I would like to highlight an issue very important to me as well as many others in my home state of North Carolina and other states too, which is PFAS. We need a rational, scientifically informed approach to address this issue, and under the chemical safety laws passed by Congress, this responsibility rests with the EPA. I understand that EPA is actively moving forward with developing important scientific information as part of implementing a PFAS action plan. Implementing this plan and establishing a safe consumption standard is a difficult, time-consuming, and expensive process. I look forward to getting a progress report on these activities and hearing how this is coming along under the guidelines of EPA scientists and chemical safety experts. In addition to the EPA, we also have folks here from 4 other important agencies, as I mentioned before. Between them, these agencies have a diverse set of missions, including maintaining one of North America's most important waterways, helping farmers and ranchers with their conservation needs, protecting our country's coastal zones, and completing the nexus between public health and chemical safety. I look forward to hearing how they complete their objectives and what challenges they face in carrying out those respective duties. Again, thank you to our witnesses. And Madam Chair, I'd like to ask unanimous consent to include for the record a copy of the letter that me and 126 other members sent to Michael Regan and Mr. Jamie Pinkham with regard to the WOTUS rule.
So ordered.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back.